welcome to another episode of 5 Minutes with Freed. I'm your host, Michael Freed. I'm a litigation partner in the matrimonial and family law firm of Berkman, Botker, Newman, and Shine, with offices in New York City, Westchester, and Long Island. And today, my special guest is Jeremy Stevenson of iBridge Global Partners. So, Jeremy, welcome to 5 Minutes with Freed.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you having me on today.
Sure. So, Jeremy, tell us, what is iBridge Global Partners and what's your role in the company?
I am the founder, and iBridge Global Partners is a family business strategy firm.
Okay. And what does it do?
So essentially, the easiest way to frame it is we align families, unite ownerships, and then obviously build a business that individuals can transition when they're ready. Meaning they can build a sellable asset, they can build a succession roadmap, or they can build a family asset. Inevitably, they're going to have to transition the business. So families usually come to me essentially when they have finance, they have family, or they have transition challenges. But yeah, I mean, I've got a fairly simplistic 5-step process that I take ownership through, or take owners and families through. And essentially, you can think about, obviously, beyond getting the family aligned and the ownership aligned, it's how does the family interact with the business? How do you structure it from a family perspective onto the board of directors, and then down to the management level of the company? And then, of course, how do you professionalize the business so that it runs like a mini Fortune 50 with all the red tape that you can either hand off or sell or whatever, and it's attractive to buyers, or it's easily transferable to the next generation. They're ready for it. They want the job. And then there's other scenarios that you can do, obviously, if the family wants to, I guess you could say, step back from the ownership and do passive ownership, or sit on the board, obviously oversee the business, and then install a leadership team that they hire that actually can and knows how to run the business, and they work on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. So, Jeremy, you know that I'm a matrimonial and family law attorney. When would my clients most often require your services?
Well, I would assume generally if there is a disruption in the marital affairs, then there possibly is a breakup in the business, or at least from an ownership perspective, there's going to be a transition to some extent. But yeah, it's usually when there's family challenges, or when they're actually going to change ownership structures, or they want to improve the business and prepare it for a transition of some sorts.
Okay. And what are the challenges that you face in your area of work?
Honestly, the biggest challenge is getting business owners to start moving fast enough, basically, to start off, period. Everybody thinks they're going to live forever. And a lot of times the family challenges and succession problems or challenges or planning don't necessarily go together, because one leads to the other, and you got to prick the bear, so to speak. And that's where, I'm going to work forever comes into play a lot of times. And that's not obviously going to happen. So, once the train's left the station, you've built a business, you're going to have to actually hand those keys over. And I mean, the first step in my process is what's your vision, goals, and timeline. And honestly, that conversation can sometimes take a year, because that's a realization point essentially for a lot of owners. They have to figure out, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? What do I want to do from a time frame perspective? And then what I want my business to look like, and who am I going to hand it to? And then you start getting into, okay, who am I going to pass it to? Is it Jane or Johnny or both? What's that ownership structure look like? And then all the surrounding individuals from an ownership structure stake, you got to recraft that as well. And a lot of times, once you get into the business, there's a lot of improvements that can be made, and figuring out how to grow it to the next level of success, and again, professionalizing it so that it can actually succeed for another 5 or 10 generations or whatever. Or like, again, sometimes other things, other avenues to pursue.
Okay. So what's the best way for a prospective client or other professional like myself to contact you?
You can call me, 502-741-7852. My email address is jstevenson@ibridgeglobalpartners.com. I'm on LinkedIn, and certainly have a website. It's www, obviously, ibridgeglobalpartners.com.
All right. Perfect. So now, Jeremy Stevenson, we have now come to the most important part of our show. And that happens to be the question of the week. So, Jeremy Stevenson, this is your question of the week. You have the chance to be bald for the rest of your life, or get a massive mullet. Which one would you choose, and why?
Well, it goes along with the Southern accent that I have. So I would choose to have the massive mullet that, that is all business in the front and party in the back. I mean, it's very easy to explain to the clients when you step in there because they're going to hear the accent anyway. So, it's just another way to say, and we trick them into thinking we're trustworthy. Why not? Very relatable when you got a massive mullet, pick up some Coors and you're walking in the front door in style.
I love that answer. And I have to tell you, Jeremy Stevenson, you have said it all. You are helping business owners one day at a time. And I want to thank you for being a wonderful guest on 5 Minutes with Freed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Freed.